Right.
Welcome back. This segment of the Sports Source brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. If you're starting a home improvement project, you need to make sure you have the right materials. Winter projects need different stuff than summer projects. Visit A.G. Hines Company for the materials you need and the tips on how to use them. A.G. Hines Company for more than 100 years. All right, let's welcome in next wave of guys on this show. Bob Hodge still sits right there, but next to him from 99.1 The Sports Animal, we threw Jimmy out and we brought Josh in. Josh, thanks for being here. Jimmy, thank you for being here. Josh, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
These shows aren't easy to produce when you put 45 guys in here. Right here, Marlon Walls, VFL. Thanks for being with us, my friend. And right over there, Chuck Cavaleris, longtime sports writer, longtime member of our panel.
Holding down the far left this time.
There you go. Okay. What did we learn? That is this segment. What stands out? What did we learn? Josh, I'm going to start with you. What did you learn from that game yesterday?
I learned that Tennessee's offensive line can keep the best pass rushers in the country, the best, in check. Because last week we saw them do that with B.J. Ojulari. So, okay, well, now you get Will Anderson, who is the best. He's a guy that I think he would be effective right now playing in the NFL, and he was not against Tennessee. So with Anderson, with Dallas Turner, and we knew Alabama would try to bring pressure to affect Hendon Hooker, Tennessee's offensive linemen did not allow it to happen.
A lot of people think Will Anderson is the best football player in the country. You know, okay, quarterbacks, this, that, and the other, but when the NFL draft came.
That'll be who wins the Heisman in a fluke.
Yeah. Last week, I thought people kind of downgraded Tennessee's offensive line, what they did against LSU. LSU wasn't all that good. Well, eventually, you do have to credit these guys. And how much of that is Heupel's scheme? Because if you look across that offensive line, you don't got a bunch of 4- and 5-star guys there that just walked in and said, hey, we can play college football. They developed these guys. They've made them better. They will. A couple of these linemen are going to get drafted. They're not going to get drafted where Will Anderson gets drafted.
Right.
But this is 2 weeks in a row. You see NFL quality talent, and you basically stone them. So eventually, offensive line, give them credit. I'm crediting Heupel's scheme. I'm also crediting a coaching staff that has made them better.
And I would take that in. When they fired Pruitt, we did a thing on the old set on the YP board where I said, here's the thing I would go for. Here's what I'd look for. Don't go after a coach who's going to say, well, we're going to spend the next 5 years out recruiting Alabama and we're going to go toe-to-toe. I said, do the Moneyball approach. Realize no one's going to get 5 years to out-recruit Alabama. Find you a guy who's a quarterback guru or has a funky system that can win with less. And you don't have to have that. This is what you did.
Yes.
You got the guy. You got the guy because if you compared, what's Alabama going to have off that team? 3 times as many draft picks as Tennessee?
At least.
Yes.
3 to 4 times. Yeah. So for them to go out, win that game yesterday, go toe-to-toe with them, I think that speaks to the offensive line and everything across the board. That's just a tremendous system and a tremendous job by the coaching staff and by Danny White making the hire.
Yeah.
Credit Danny White. All right, Marlon, what do you think? What was your big takeaway?
Overall takeaway, winning attitude. Winning attitude. How many situations have we been in at the University of Tennessee in a ball game like that? And like you said, the big play, the change up with
the fumble,
with the
49-42.
In my head, I'm thinking, oh man, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, we've
go.
given it to them.
Yep.
But man, they kept going. And so the biggest thing is, man, winning attitude. You've got a winning attitude. You'll get yourself out of a lot of those situations because your mentality is, let's go to the next play.
And don't
let's
forget,
make up for that one.
those are a lot of the same guys that stayed here when
Yeah.
Heupel came in. And that's the core. They wanted to be here.
Yeah.
And they've earned that right to me.
I mean, heck, look across the field at toe-to-toe. For us as fans, we're thinking, man, our good talent is leaving out of the building. Those guys stayed, and Heupel helped create that winning mentality where those guys are unfazed. Next play.
That's what I learned in the game was Henry To'o went 1-3 in that series, the Tennessee-Alabama series. He did get one, but I bet he thought he was going to get 2 out of there. Only 1. What a shame. Chuck, what'd you learn?
Hey, I learned don't give the ball back to Tennessee with time on the clock, and it's the end of the game. I thought Alabama could have handled that last series better. I thought they were going too much on throwing the ball when they had a chance to run and get closer for their field goal because that guy was a little shaky. He'd been money throughout his career, but he's been a little shaky now.
50 yards is not a gimme kick.
No, especially for somebody who's been, struggling from that distance. And then you let Tennessee, and even Saban came out with his quote saying, we were too soft at the end.
Yeah.
So did you mishandle both of those? Because if Tennessee had been a yard further back, that kick didn't make it over the crossbar.
Which credit Chase McGrath. It wasn't the prettiest kick. Did anybody see did they get a hand on it, or was
No,
it just
but
a
there was a guy-
Either way, it made it through for Chase McGrath.
It looked like he started
He
early
did.
towards the ball.
He took a false step.
Yeah.
He really did.
Well,
But
for
does
him,
anybody-
that was the best ugly kick he'll ever
Yes.
kick in his life.
it was
He's a star in this town forever.
It was a Daniel Lincoln 09
Yeah.
Alabama, but it had a little bit of something.
there was
little
no
extra
Mount-
on it.
there was no Mount
no
Cody.
Mount Cody in there.
A phrase from Tennessee's not too distant past: snap and clear.
Yeah. Reset.
Well, Tennessee, Butch Jones, thank you. They snapped and cleared.
Yeah.
Because I was just like Marlon.
Yeah.
When that fumble happened, I thought, that's it. They're done. That's in your head. What are you going to be able to do?
And credit to them, there was still, 7.5 minutes to go in the game, I believe?
Yeah.
So credit to them coming back out there and keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, what does that say about Hendon Hooker? He did not win the job immediately, but mentally he stayed focused, ready to go, got the job a few weeks later, and I think that would be a statement last night as well. He was walking off the field knowing, I'm about to get the ball back. We've got to go down the field and score, and he did it.
I tell you guys, just being there at the game, pregame, just watching those guys warm up. Usually in that game, in that series, you can feel the tension in the air. Man, those guys they're straightforward, they're locked in, they're ready to roll. Heck, Hendon Hooker was taking pictures with fans before the game, and it was unfazed. In my mind, I'm thinking, do we got Tuscaloosa on the other side? Lock in, let's go. But that's their mentality.
And one last thing, Tennessee makes a pretty good epicenter for college football. When you're talking about from game day, SEC Nation, the whole bit, all day long, that's a pretty good show that they put on.
CBS twice already. You're going to get it with Georgia. You may get it with Kentucky. You're going to be top 5 this week. Game day twice this year already, as you say. And you had Peyton Manning in town. And here's one I'll throw out there. We mentioned Hendon Hooker earlier. We learned there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
That was Peyton Manning's line on game day beforehand, which I thought was pretty cool. Anytime somebody kind of passes on a torch, I love that kind of stuff. But for that to get the comment it did, and for Hendon Hooker to then go out and have an all-time great day in terms of Tennessee performances by a quarterback against Alabama, hard to beat what he did.
I'm
yesterday.
actually even glad he threw an interception.
Just to get
Get
it
it
out.
off the table. Yeah.
Get that elephant
it out
off
of
his
there.
back.
Yeah, in front of a lot of recruits, by the way. A lot of recruits saw that.
Yeah, and a lot watching on television where the fireworks at the end, the crowd
yeah.
coming out
That's it.
there.
Incredible scene.
It was an incredible scene. All right, when we come back, how much credit goes to the defense? I'm going to give them some. We'll see if anybody else out here agrees. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Away from home? Watch the Sports Source live at WATE.com.